Its leadership is working against the Palestinians in the disputed city's land battle, parishioners say. Jalal Barham, right, as he leaves the Arab Orthodox Cultural Center in the West Bank city of Beit Sahor near Bethlehem on January 18, 2019. Heidi Levine at Jalal Barham's church in Beit Sahor, a small, historically Christian village beside Bethlehem in the Israeli-occupied West Bank. A Greek flag flies above the spire. Mr. Barham, 65, is a member of the Greek Orthodox Church, the largest church in Israel and the Palestinian territories. The church is his everything, his job as a local leader and his source of spiritual, religious, and social fulfillment. But he and many other Palestinian parishioners are frustrated with the Greek Orthodox Church's leadership. It has been secretly selling off land to Israel and, Mr. Barham says, stifling the church's Palestinian character to the detriment of the local Christian community's sustainability. The biggest issue we are facing now with this patriarch is the selling of land in Israel's interest, said Mr. Barham. Because we know as Palestinians that the conflict between us and Israel is about the land. He continued, we are struggling for reform of the church and of the patriarch, to free the church from Greek dominance over the church and its money and administration. That a God-fearing Palestinian would be in open revolt against his revered church and leadership exemplifies the many interrelated conflicts shaping life for Palestinians today. The Greek Orthodox Church of Jerusalem dates itself back to the lifetime of Jesus Christ and his disciples. Today it is the second largest landowner in Israel and the Palestinian territories, including owning about one-third of Jerusalem's Old City and holding the deed to the land upon which the Israeli Knesset, or parliament, it is built. The Orthodox Church in Jerusalem was an important part of early Christianity. But over time, while Orthodox churches in various countries gained their independence, such as the Russian Orthodox Church having a Russian patriarch, a Russian flag, and Russian as the church's main language, the Palestinian church remained dominated by Greek leadership due to Jerusalem's centrality. Over recent decades, Palestinian church members have organized conferences calling for changes in their church leadership. They've made demands: more Arabic-speaking priests, more Palestinian priests, fewer restrictions on Palestinian priests advancing, more church money going back to the local communities. The Greek leadership, though, Mr. Barham lamented, has not listened. Instead, as Palestinian parishioners were demanding their own national church, the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem was selling or issuing long-term leases of land to Israel, despite the fact that the Palestinians are locked in a struggle with the Israelis for statehood with a particular focus on the division of Jerusalem as a shared capital city. The controversial land deals have come to light in waves over recent years. One document attributed to an internal sector of the church recorded at least 20 plots of land or property sold or leased over the last 10 years, earning the church over $100 million, the Washington Post reported. For Palestinian parishioners, the land sales felt like a double betrayal. Not only was their own church selling land to their rival, but they also aren't benefiting, said Ghassan Maneir, a member of the Greek Orthodox Church in Ramla, an inland Israeli city south of Tel Aviv. This land and property is to support the local Christian community to stay and keep living in Jesus' land, said Mr. Maneir, who is originally from Lod in Israel, home to a historic Orthodox church dedicated to St. George. This is exactly not what's happened through the years. They did not use the money to prevent, for example, the migration of the Christian community. Mr. Maneir said the church should be supporting young couples to buy their first homes or continue their education. Instead, he lamented, community members have watched as people have left the Greek Orthodox Church for other churches where they feel more comfortable, or even left Israel and the Palestinian territories altogether, as they can't live the life they want, burdened by the region's economic, security and political problems. The number of Christians across the Middle East has dropped dramatically over the last 50 years. Mr. Barham estimates there are now about 130-150,000 Christians in Israel, about 55-60,000 of whom are Orthodox, while there are another 47,000 Christians in the West Bank and Gaza, 27,000 of whom are part of the Orthodox Church. According to a study by Bethlehem University, 11% of the population of Ottoman Palestine, which included present-day Israel, Gaza and the West Bank, were Christian in 1900, while that number has now dropped to about 1.7%. Palestinian men, most who are Orthodox Christians, playing backgammon on a Friday morning at the Arab Orthodox Cultural Center in the West Bank city of Beit Sahor near Bethlehem on January 18, 2019. Heidi Levine for The National. Mr. Barham said there are no figures for how many people have left the Greek Orthodox Church for another church in Israel and the Palestinian territories, though both he and Mr. Menayer cited the more recent growth of other, smaller churches in Christian communities as an important indicator. The Greek Orthodox Church leadership, and some of its Palestinian parishioners, have adamantly denied the accusations. Everything we have done is with approval of the Synod leadership, but there are individuals who have their own agenda to attack us and slander us, the Greek Orthodox Patriarch of Jerusalem, Theophilos III, told The Washington Post in 2017. We are a religious institution with a spiritual mission here for more than 2,000 years. Mr. Theophilos has defended the sales, arguing it was necessary to sell the land to pay off the church's debts and ensure its future after bad previous investments. Mr. Theophilos ousted his predecessor in 2005 over the latter's support for many deals, though more land sales have since come to light. He has also denied knowing that some of the ultimate owners were Jewish Israeli settler groups with the stated goal of Judaizing Palestinian communities in Jerusalem. Church officials have said that in some cases the Israeli government, which issues the visas for priests, has seized or pressured the Patriarch to sell or long-term lease the land. Under Ottoman rule, some families gave up ownership of their land to the church in order to avoid paying high taxes, said Mr. Menayer, the parishioner from Ramla, citing his family's own experience. Some community members who fled or were kicked out of their homes with Israel's founding in 1948 also handed over their land to the church for safekeeping. Along with donations from pilgrims and the local communities, the Greek Orthodox Church had consequently been able to acquire significant and coveted properties. All of this, now, is starting to change. The Israeli parliament is set to reconsider legislation that would allow the government to seize land sold by the church to private developers. Lawmakers say it's necessary to stabilize the market for these properties, but others within the church see this as another way for the state to control historically Palestinian land. In response to the land sales, Greek Orthodox Church members have organized protests, including throwing eggs and trash at the Patriarch of Jerusalem during Christmas processions, called for the Patriarch's resignation, and filed a lawsuit contesting some of the sales. Others have called for unity. We have to face together what might come, said Abu el-Walid Dajani, the owner of the Imperial Hotel inside Jaffa Gate in Jerusalem, where there's a large portrait of the current Patriarch, who Mr. Dajani calls a friend. The Patriarch is currently appealing an Israeli ruling upholding the sale of several properties, including the Imperial Hotel, by Mr. Theophilos's predecessor. Mr. Barham, though, believes the land sales have tarnished the church's mission. Updated, April 2, 2019, 3:30 p.m.